Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it's your first time joining us. Kay didn't spill out her dice, so we're going to do that now, and then I'll start.
I was going to do it on my notebook. It's not as loud.
Good enough. Anyways, I'm Ethan, and I'm the Dungeon Master for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show! Nick, would you like to start off some introductions for the players?
I'm Nick, and I play Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock, the Human Vengeance Paladin.
I'm Kay. I play Harmony, who is a tiefling wild magic sorcerer.
I'm Zach, and I play Zant, who is a human fighter ranger. Yeah.
I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human rogue swashbuckler.
Let's see, so a couple quick announcements, and then a recap, and then we'll get straight into things. We premiere our episodes on YouTube every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items, as well as a custom wild magic table, which went off at the very end of the last episode, setting up today's episode. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. And the character portraits in the top right corner of the screen, which you can see up there, were drawn by an artist named Carrie Peach, who goes by @CarrieDraws on Twitter. You can check the video description for links and information to everything I just mentioned and more. Excuse me, that was a fruit roll-up burp.
TMI.
I know. And it's immortalized forever on the internet. That's great.
That's another thing that we need to clip now.
Yep.
I got
Stop
that
clipping
fruit roll-up
things.
burp.
Yeah, other than that, you can follow us on Twitter for all these clips of embarrassing things we do. Quick recap, and we'll get straight into the action.
I think you meant awesome things.
Yes. A night hag named Mother Midnight, who the party had encountered a long time ago, is making her presence known once more. And in response to that, the party put together a plan to reach Mother Midnight in her lair on Malbold, the sixth. It's gonna be one of those nights. 6th layer of the 9 hells. In order to do that, the first step of their plan involved them traveling to Sigil, the Interplanar city in the center of the cosmos, in order to secure papers of safe passage to Avernus, Stygia, and Malbold, the 3 layers of the hells that they would be passing through. And then in exchange for 2 significant favors owed to Sial, a friend and merchant that they are well acquainted with, they received 1, a powerful magical artifact for Harmony, known as the Robe of the Archmagi, and also a little bit of help securing a Yugoloth navigator for their boat when they attempt to sail on the River Styx in the near future. However, before they could conclude their business in Sigil and head home, Harmony, in pursuit of some gems in the Great Bazaar of Sigil,
Something shiny and unique.
yes,
A souvenir to take home.
ran afoul of Mike Jensen, a longtime thorn in the party's side, and her wild magic caused a few problems, which we're going to start with today.
Intentionally, though, may I point out, I knew it was coming and I did it because I was like, this will make a great distraction.
So,
Problems is in the eye of the beholder.
we start today's episode with a scene. Harmony, at the end of the last session, you cast invisibility, triggering your wild magic, which caused the stone ground around your feet to become fine grains of sand that just began to swirl inward. Basically a pool of quicksand that quickly pulled you down into the center of it. So the rest of you can just sort of see like the invisible shape of Harmony's feet being
So
sucked
I don't
down
have-
into the sand.
I don't have a chance to react before I start getting sucked in because, like, I knew my wild magic was gonna.
But you didn't know what was going to happen.
Okay.
We knew you were standing there, and then you disappeared, and the ground turned mushy. Are we all seeing this then?
Yes, you're all seeing this, but from slightly different vantage points, because Thaddeus, in order to capture Mike Jensen's attention and pull the attention away from Harmony, approached the man himself and started a conversation with him. Meanwhile, Mara is back by a market stall, the one that Harmony was trying to steal gems from. And to give you a little bit more information about what this stall looks like, it's basically, made of like red fabrics and things like that, colors that will draw the eye to it. And it has basically laid out its wares, which you can see are basically 7 different colors of gem that each pulse with a different type of elemental energy within the gem itself. And the salesperson behind the stall, like manning the counter, is this maybe 8, 9, bordering on 10 foot tall, red-skinned creature. Let me pull up a picture so that I can describe it better. I think, yes, he's got like 4 horns that poke out of the top of his head, just little horns, and he's completely shirtless, but he is wearing a very ornamental like skirt type thing that has gold and silver accessories dangling from it, and you can see that he also has like gold bracelets and things like that. And then holstered in his belt, which is holding up that ornamental skirt, is the hilt of a gorgeous-looking sword. And then, sort of standing, off to the side of him, a little ways back, he seems to have just a couple of like suits of armor that are just sitting there, very decorative suits of armor. So that is the being that you are standing in front of, sort of kind of melded into the crowd, waiting for your opportunity to snatch a gem for Harmony. Where is Zant and Biopko?
So, I think after Thaddeus sprung into action, and the quicksand starts taking Harmony's feet, I would probably saunter over to Harmony's location, where that might be. And,
So when you go over to there, you see that Harmony's footprints are basically in the center of this like 10-foot radius
Okay.
of quicksand.
Oh, 10-foot
Has
radius.
it trapped anybody else?
Yeah, there are a few other citizens of the city, like only 1 or 2. But
So would it be harder to see my footprints then if there are other people around me?
yes,
Because it's a
so
crowded
like
market.
I don't think anyone else but the group of you has seen your footprints in there. But like because the group of you know where Harmony was, you can see her footprints there. But there are a couple, screams which are quickly drowned out by the overwhelming sound of the market from a couple other citizens of Sigil who seem to find themselves trapped in the quicksand.
So, I think I would pull out the rope of mending and probably cast it across the quicksand to let people grab on and pull themselves out.
Okay.
And make sure to cast it so you can grab it too.
Okay.
We're gonna deal with Harmony's situation first for a second, and then we'll get to Thaddeus.
Okay.
Harmony, the second the quicksand appears, you can see Zant coming to your rescue. However, as soon as the sand basically apparates in this area, you and everyone else who is in the area sinks by 4 feet into the sand. And how tall is Harmony?
I'm 3 feet tall.
So Harmony, actually, you see her footprints and basically like then her body and then just it covers over.
Oh, jeez.
But you can see that other people who are taller, because there aren't very many small creatures in Sigil, are still only like halfway into the sand, and they're all now reaching and clamoring for your rope and trying to pull themselves
It's
out.
cool. I'm gonna subtle spell Dimension Door.
Okay. We'll get to that in a second. Thaddeus, you approached Mike Jensen
I don't
and
need to
said,
rescue.
I didn't know that. I can't see you.
It's fine. You can cause part of the distraction for me.
That's what's
Me
happening.
too. Did you tell me what color gem you wanted?
I
Mike,
think red.
Mike Jensen, is that you?
Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock? What are you? And he kind of
What
looks,
is-
he casts his eyes around, and he is trying to spot your friends. Mara, would you make a stealth check for me?
You only have to roll.
Set up.
Use the big one.
Stealth is one she has to roll.
Oh my god.
Well,
I don't like that one.
It's kind of cocked.
it's hard not for that dice to get a little bit of cock.
Put it in the jail.
Right. It's only at 8.
Oh, okay.
You don't get proficiency?
She never gets Christmas
Well, I thought you had.
Not
Oh,
for stealth.
you're not wearing the boots. Not proficiency, advantage.
Oh.
is what I
No,
meant.
because I'm wearing the ballet slippers.
Right. Damn.
So
Oh, well.
Mike casts his eyes around and says, "Oh, I see your friend Mara. Where's your automaton and the other one?"
I believe they're together. They're shopping somewhere else.
Okay, and he just kind of like is looking around, and he says, "Wait, hold on. Why are you even here? How are you even here?"
What? It's such a strange coincidence that we should meet each other, isn't it? I didn't know that you lived here.
And he kind of like straightens up, tucks in his shirt a little bit, and says, "Well, the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis is situated in Sigil, you know."
That makes sense.
Yes, of course. And he's kind of like, he's got one eye like half on you, and he's kind of like watching.
I'm trying to like keep both his eyes on me.
Well, right now you don't have his full attention. But he continues the conversation and says, "You know," and right now it seems like only because he was traveling with a couple other creatures. He was traveling with some of those, you know, cube-shaped creatures with the robotic wings that you've seen before. But then also two of these taller, like green-skinned creatures with like elongated heads, like these flowing robes. It seems like those taller creatures are interested in another stall at this moment, but him and the four cube-shaped creatures are have noticed you, and so he is kind of keeping half of his attention on you, but the cube-shaped creatures seem to have like they're all focused on you.
Okay.
And he just says, "You know, you and your friends actually, I got into a little bit of trouble after I got back last time with only partial information. And it's kind of fortuitous that you're here. If I could take you down to the main office just for a few minutes.
Let's
explain
go
the
right now.
situation. Well, it would be really great if I could get all of your friends. Where did you say they're shopping?"
I'm not sure. They went off on their own.
Yeah.
But let's go. Let's go.
Okay. Can we wait around for them a little bit longer? Were you planning
I
to
don't
meet
know when.
somewhere?
I don't know when they'll be back.
Are you staying in the city for a
We're
while?
leaving soon. Is why I think we should go now.
He kind of
That
He
is
gets-
the true hero. What a brave man.
he looks
So
down at the
unnecessary.
berry.
What, stealing? Yes.
He thinks about it for a second and finally says, "All right, I guess it's the only way we can work this out." Anyways, and he kind of like motions to the tall, green-skinned creatures who he catches their attention, and they come over, and they just have this kind of like weird alien presence as they're standing next to him, especially since he's such a normal-looking guy. And he says, he kind of like looks at them intensely, and it's like when you and your friends are having like a telepathic conversation. This is what it feels like to be on the outside of that.
And you have Captain Prettybeard who just butts his way in.
And once their telepathic conversation is done, he and the four cube-like creatures motion you off in a direction, further into, basically out of the market ward and into the clerk's ward.
Nobody knows where you went.
And
No.
the four cube-like creatures
Oh,
are
man.
coming
I guess you
with
could like message one of us on your way out.
Are
or something.
the two green-skinned creatures coming with us?
No, they start looking around the market.
I guess I'll just flat ask, what are your friends doing? Are they not coming with us?
Oh, they're just going to try and find the rest of your friends and bring them to meet up with us. Actually, while we're on our way, why don't we talk to Mara and get her to come along as well? And he, instead of heading off into the clerk's ward, heads off towards where Mara is crouched next to
So
one of the...
do I know he's here and we're trying to avoid him? Was that where we left it?
You would have
Yeah.
seen him, you would have been aware, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna try to ditch him.
So you see him coming your direction, and you want to like make another attempt to fade into the crowd?
Mhm.
Sure, roll another stealth check. And then we'll go back to Harmony for a second.
5.
You're just so
Not the sneaky rogue.
easily noticed.
Not the sneaky rogue. Doesn't matter. She rolled a 2.
Ethan also rolled a 2 and a 0.
Man, I really
Mike
wanted to
Jensen,
get that
the
gem for you.
commoner, the commoner stat block, rolls a natural 20 and spots the party rogue, who is level 18.
I need to remember that you are Jack Sparrow.
Very flamboyant.
Mara, and he, as you're trying to duck into the crowd, claps a hand on your shoulder and says, Your friend Sir Thaddeus Hammerlock and I are going to go down to the offices of the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis.
It'll be fun, Mara.
It'll be quick, too. It won't take long.
Well,
Haven't
he's
you ever
got
wanted
his
to
hand
see?
on me. I'm picking his pocket.
Okay. Do you
Oh,
otherwise
there.
go with him, though?
Yeah.
Okay. So he
Well,
starts leading you off.
Now someone knows where I'm going.
Go ahead and roll your
Okay.
Sleight of hand.
sleight of hand check.
I'm proficient in that one.
She is
Yeah,
proficient
she
in
is.
that.
Oh,
So
it's a
she's
plus
gonna-
17.
What?
Natural 20!
Oh my gosh.
I was going to
37!
So much stuff.
I was going to roll for the quadrones, but now I just won't.
Why couldn't you got that one on the other roll?
I know.
It's okay,
This
take
might
one.
be better. You know,
Jensen's
everything happens
pocket.
for a reason.
I know what she finds in Mike Jensen's pocket. This is bad.
Oh no.
Or good.
For Mike Jensen, this is bad.
Yeah.
Not a comb. Remember that?
Yeah.
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 Hill zips, comb or whatever.
No, you find a couple of pens and things like that. A small pouch of gold.
I'm imagining this playing out. It's like we're walking along, and Mara's hand sneaks in, and like a pen, and she tosses it. It's like
Yes.
another pen, and she tosses
Yes.
it, and she's just like looting this guy, and
Yes.
he never notices.
And the thing is, no one else
Yeah.
on the streets notices either.
Did I, on the way out, did I pass by the table with the gems? No.
I mean, he was sort of
Later.
pulling
Don't
you
worry
away
about
on
it.
that one.
Later.
The other thing that you pulled out of Mike Jensen's pocket is a piece of black cloth that shimmers with a magical energy.
Nick knows what that is.
Okay.
And so, do you take all these things?
Yes.
Okay. They're all yours.
Yes.
This is very bad for Mike Jensen.
He's
Pretty good for us, though.
So much
Is that-
trouble.
I have an
You've
idea
seen,
what
Yeah.
it is.
you've
We've seen him
this
use it,
before.
right? Yeah.
This is
This is how he.
your shopkeeper.
I'm gonna show you.
Like,
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
goes from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Woohoo!
This is so good.
Harmony.
Yes.
Hunter is sort of above the quicksand, pulling
And
Uber
I'm like-
out with the rope.
Do you tell me that you got out, or did you?
Well,
make it-
I'm currently still under the quicksand.
Okay, so
so
you- oh, you
he
haven't
hasn't
done
let me
anything yet, okay.
cast my spell
Yeah.
or do anything yet.
Hunter, everyone that you pull out is extremely grateful, and they all just basically stand on the edge of the quicksand looking at it, and they're just like,
I'm like, does this happen often? What kind of
"What
place is
nine hells
this?
is going on here? Like,
Oh
what
my
kind of
gosh.
alcove wizard
This
cooked
is
this
a
one up?"
dangerous place.
Yeah,
How do you
and
guys
they're,
conduct business around here?
they're all extremely confused, and they're just like, some of them are like calling over, like one of them goes looking for some guards,
Yeah.
to try and sort this out. But Harmony, where do you want to appear?
Oh yeah, so I do have to use subtle spell, right? Because I
Mhm.
figure it's only
You cannot breathe under.
verbal, but yeah, okay. Let me mark that off. I would like to go.
On my shoulders.
No, I'm going. No, I'm visible now because I cast a
Oh,
spell.
okay.
I'm gonna go into an alley near the booth where I want to
Mm-hmm.
steal the gem from, but kind of
I
like
won't be dissuaded.
tucked away, hid in a hidden space.
Okay. Roll 2 things. Check for wild magic.
Yes, sir. Nope.
And then second thing, just make a stealth check as you appear.
Good luck.
This is basically your split second attempt to
Okay.
hide behind a trash can or something.
I just took it out. It's
Oh,
right
thanks.
Well,
there. Tides of chaos. What's happening?
It's not our nature tonight.
Okay. Ooh, 10.
10. Okay. A couple people in the market, see you appear, and they give kind of like disapproving shakes of their head, and you hear one of them just say, "Clueless bashers," just like with disgust in their voice, but they kind of like walk on and like ignore you.
Okay. I always forget. Hold on. I need to do some trading real quick. Some sorcery point trading for Dang it. Maybe it would be faster to look at that. I
What
can't
was
remember
What was your roll?
how many. Oh, here we go.
She
Huh?
rolled a 10,
10.
10 total?
which is most creatures' passive perception is a 10.
So I noticed you.
Well, I'm gonna use 2 sorcery points to get back a 2nd level spell and cast invisibility on myself again.
Okay. As you are doing that, would you roll me a perception check?
17.
Okay. You spot those 2 green-skinned creatures who were with Mike Jensen making their way in your direction, and the weird glowing yellow eyes are trained on the alleyway where you just appeared.
Alright, invisible again.
Uh,
Wait, I encountered these guys before, right?
mhm.
Do I recall if they could see me when I was invisible last time?
Last
that
time you were
tower?
hiding in a bag, like a sleeping bag.
Right, because they could see me. I feel like I turned myself invisible first.
You were
and then they
invisible at
saw me.
first, but then something you did broke the invisibility. I can't remember what it was, but you cast another spell.
So the invisibility worked before.
You never got a chance to find out because essentially they were on a lower floor of the tower, and then you were on an upper floor. And while you were on the upper floor, you did something to break your invisibility.
Okay.
And then by the time they came up,
Right.
you had to hide.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm invisible again, and I'm going to
Wait, she just goes off.
try to slink through the crowd, and I'm going to keep my eyes on the green things and see if they still seem to be following where I am.
First, check for wild magic.
No, he goes off because he just used
No, it. Yeet.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
You did that chaos.
Chaos.
You're right. You're right. I was like, no, I used right the cat. Oh wait. You're totally right.
Here we go.
All right.
Quicksand
Like
round
the
2.
Oh, you're right.
Oh shit. No, we're gonna do.
Feeling like we're not getting out of Sigil tonight.
No, we're gonna do 69.
Nice.
Yep. Yep. I think this one has triggered before, but we're doing that one because I can choose. And that
Okay.
one.
What was the other one?
The other one would have been bad.
Okay.
That's one that I was like, oh shit.
Okay. So you become invisible, and you begin slinking back off towards that direction. And initially, it looks like they look around as if they can't see you.
Uh-huh.
However, let's check one thing in a spell.
Do I have to make another stealth check since I'm invisible?
You might need to make a wisdom check. A save.
I'm not attuned to my robe yet.
Okay. Do make your stealth check.
With advantage?
No.
No advantage?
Because for a brief second it looks like they don't know where you are, but then they kind of, let me see if they have to do anything for this. They don't have to use material components, but, so you would see them both begin to cast a spell.
And I can't counterspell without losing my invisibility. Cool. Well, I'll just roll stealth with 1 then.
Okay. Then as their spells finish, that's when they both seem to kind of lock in on your location.
No,
Tides of chaos again!
No,
You
stop.
get triggered!
Stop.
Oh my gosh.
But I need it!
Yep.
Okay, this one's going in there. This one's going in there. That's an 8!
An 8, okay. They both seem to still know where you are, and they stride straight towards you.
Alright. Cool. Well.
It may be time to give up on this stall.
All this for like a gem.
I know, but it looked amazing. Alright.
Did it?
I'm gonna cast Dominate Monster.
Okay.
And my wild magic goes off.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You know, it's been a while though since I've had something like this.
What kind of save is it?
Oh Jesus Christ. That's a very good question.
And are you attuned to your robe yet?
I am not.
Okay. So it's still a 21.
It's still a 21.
We'll flash back to the rest of you in a second.
Please.
I
Do you
definitely
want to
noticed
make a
this.
perception check to see if you notice all of this happening?
I have a passive perception.
Yeah,
of
you
23.
notice all of this
It's
happening.
wisdom.
Wisdom. Okay.
I think once I free the last of the people, I'm just kind of like watching to see if I need to do anything. Nah, again.
These guys don't have any saving throw proficiencies. So
Good.
That's weird to me.
There it is.
That's just an 18. So one of them falls under your spell.
Is that 30?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So 32 or 80.
So Zach, you're just kind of standing by. You're not doing
So you
anything
can cast
until you need to.
Dominate Monster or multiple ones?
Just one.
Just one.
Or just one?
There are some sorcery things you can do, but I don't know if Harmony has those.
To twin it
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
All right.
Could be
Well, we're gonna
interesting.
we're gonna go with 32.
Okay.
Yep. And I'm not invisible anymore.
Yeah.
'cause I
So
got
as
this
Harmony appears with these two things walking straight to her, the group of you can see that. Well, I guess just Xant at this
Yeah, I
point.
can see it. Yeah.
You can see that her skin is glistening with what looks like a layer of slime that just is like secreting out of it.
Gross.
Are you wearing your robe yet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You just bought that.
I've got.
For a fortune! Literally
okay.
a fortune!
For how long? You want to make these green creatures
Did you bring
feel
that
right
from the
at home?
mountain?
Okay. Yeah, and
So I dominated one of them.
Yeah, the cool
God, it's been so. You know, I think this is the first time I've actually been able to use this spell.
it might be.
So like, what
Why
can
do
I
you
Dominated
read
do?
your
one other
spell?
thing.
I've dominated a person before. I've never dominated
You don't
a
have
monster.
While you read your spell, we're gonna flash over
Okay.
to Mara and Thaddeus. Is there a plan here, or do you just want to follow him to headquarters?
My only plan was just to get him away from Harmony.
Okay. In that case, he begins leading you off towards the clerk's ward, and you find yourselves in front. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes later, you find yourselves in front of what can only be described as one of those office park buildings. That is just like a generic low building, and on the front of it, like there's windows, and on the front of it there's a symbol which is basically a wheel of symbols around a shield in the center, and in the center of the shield it says B.I.R.A, and that is on the window right next to the front door. And he just sort of gestures you towards the front door. Well, this is it. It's not much, but this is headquarters for now.
All right. Will you be giving us the full tour?
No, I really just need you to talk to my boss, and once they're convinced that everything is in good order, and I've done my job to monitor your activities on your home world of Elendil, then everything is good. I'll be back in the good graces, and you guys are free to go. And hopefully, no more slotty summonings, and I never have to see you again. And you can see he's genuinely hopeful.
Got any hot tea while we wait?
He just kind of shakes his head and says, "It's only for the employees." And
Wow.
he takes you in.
Take more from his
There's
pocket.
there's a little bit of a jingle of the bell as you guys enter, and it is as generic of a business office as it gets. There are rows of cubicles inside, all white walls. Some of the cubicles have little posters of like, I guess it would be like, it'll be like a unicorn and it will say, "Have a celestial day," or like it will be a pixie and it says, it'll be a pixie and underneath its caption it says, "The greatest magic is believing in yourself." You know, like motivational stuff like that.
Don't get caught with a tongue tattoo.
Yep. And he leads you forward
Not
into.
really, it's blue. Yeah, a little bit blue.
He leads you forward further into the office, past all these rows of cubicles where there are a lot of people just dressed in generic clothing like Mike Jensen, pretty much just like button-up shirts, working at their desks, like bent over paperwork and writing.
There don't seem to be any like warriors or anything here. Just basically a bunch of bureaucrats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And you'll see that there are sections of the building that you don't go into that have labels like, you know, the modron section, you know, and things like that, implying that there's more to this building than just this section. But the initial part that you walk through is just an office.
Okay.
And you are taken to a closed office in the back of the room, and Mike Jensen knocks on the door that is there. It's just a closed, like, wooden door. He knocks on it, and you hear a voice from inside say, "Come in." And I think we will flash back to Harmony and Zant, because I actually need to think about this, because I didn't plan what happens if they go to headquarters. I thought there's no way they actually go to headquarters.
You're welcome.
So you've dominated my monster.
Yes. Yes. There's two of them though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the spell says it takes an action to take total and precise control.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm doing. And I'm controlling the monster to turn around and say to its buddy, "This isn't our girl.
These are the droids you're looking for.
this is not the tiefling we're looking for. Let's turn around and go back to headquarters. We must have missed her."
Okay. The one that you have dominated turns to his friend, and for the first time since you've seen these creatures, opens its mouth and begins to speak in Infernal.
No, I would be able to.
Oh, do you want to make it communicate?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I would make it communicate in whatever way it normally communicates.
Okay. It turns to its friend, and you can tell through your connection to it that it is sending a communication to the other one. And the other one kind of turns and looks at it, and it shakes its head, and then strides forward and reaches to put a hand on you.
I mean, disadvantage, bitches. I'm all goozy.
You want to make an acrobatics check to try and stay away from it?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Goosey.
I rolled 2 2s.
I was gonna say gooey. And
That's
goozy.
fine.
I know.
We're not rolling great on our side of the table.
Goozy. I'm all goozy. Acrobatics?
You're looking to beat a 5.
I mean, the way I've been rolling. Oh,
Don't say it.
my
Don't
temperature
say it.
is
Don't.
back.
God. No.
I need it. I need it. Yeah, much better. 17.
You needed it to beat a 5?
Yes.
I
Rolled a
had
2.
rolled a 4.
Dang. Yeah, you slip out of its grasp. But the other one is just like, you can tell it's silently communicating, like, urgently. "No, this isn't the one. We need to go back." But the other one doesn't seem convinced.
I'm going to make it attack its friend,
Okay.
and I'm running the hell out of there.
You would know that it has several spell abilities, but it also has a hefty-looking longsword at its side.
What spell abilities does it have?
I think you would learn everything it can do. It can do Alter Self, Clairvoyance, Darkness, Detect Magic, Detect Thoughts, Dispel Magic, Invisibility, Suggestion, Dimension Door, Fear, Wall of Fire,
Okay,
Firestorm,
it's
and
going to
Suggestion.
cast Suggestion on its friend,
Okay.
and the suggestion is, let's go back to headquarters.
And Suggestion is a Wisdom.
I believe so. Yep.
Alright, it It rolled a 21 and succeeded on the save.
Damn
And
it.
its eyes narrow, and it begins to cast a spell at its friend.
I'm gonna let it happen, and I'm gonna use the confusion to kind of sneak up to the booth.
Okay.
Like kind of skirt around them and go over to the booth where
The
the
spell
gnomes
that it
are.
casts on its friend, once everything subsides, is Dispel Magic.
Okay.
So it's going to try and dispel that Dominate monster, which is what level spell?
8.
Yes.
Oh.
It doesn't succeed.
Yes.
So its friend, your command was to attack it, right?
Mhm.
So its friend basically unsheaths the longsword.
Yes. Do it.
And begins to try and attack
Do it.
the other one.
I'm using the distraction to try and steal the gem from the booth.
Okay. I just need to track.
I'm so sad for these kids.
It better be worth all this.
They're like friends, and you're making them kill each other.
They're not gonna. I don't want him to kill him. I just want him to attack him.
Okay. We will work out that in a second.
It's going exactly as you planned.
It's going nothing like that. So I think what happens, because I didn't think about, who the boss of the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis
It could be
is.
Mark Johnson.
I think what happens is you have an entirely unforgettable meeting. Or, sorry, an entirely
Oh,
forgettable meeting.
okay.
The opposite of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, you're led into the room with the Mike Jensen's boss, and it is another just very generic person. Like, it almost looks like it could be a clone of Mike Jensen, or maybe like Mike Jensen but female. Like it's the exact same thing, and basically they
I'm not
go,
sure I remember later.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they go down
So
this,
forgettable.
this routine list of questions, which you've at this point heard several times about both of the incidents with Slotty, and assuming you guys are a little bit more cooperative, the paperwork gets filled out, and at the end the boss remarks, "Well, it would have been nice if you could have brought the summoner along, but I suppose this is enough paperwork to suffice for the moment. No more Slotty summonings, you hear."
All you hear is wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
wah, wah,
There's an
wah.
on. And then basically before your Mike Jensen shows you out, the boss just says, "And before you go, is there anything we can do as the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis to inform you about the dangers of summoning Slotty into the material plane?"
Oh no, we've fought them twice now. We understand the dangers. Personally.
Very good then. No more summoning them, and this paperwork should do it. Good job, Mike. Well done.
It's nice to meet you. It's nice to see your headquarters, Mike. Hopefully our paths will never cross again.
And Mike is showing you out at this point. He says, "Yes, that would be ideal. As long as you aren't doing any more Class 6 restricted summons, it should be no problem."
It was very beneficial to meet you. Glad we ran into each other again.
And he just says, "Agreed. Yes, this has been very helpful. I can finally stop having those ultralots following me around and monitoring my every step of my process."
Oh, I thought that they were your friends.
Meanwhile.
Oh no, they're there to make sure I do my job.
Oh.
Meanwhile,
They're killing each other.
and basically Mike Jensen says, "I'm gonna stay here and do some work."
All right.
But it was nice running into you. And he goes for a handshake with Thaddeus.
We'll probably be gone soon. But yes, it was. And Thaddeus shakes his hand.
And Mara. And say hello to your automaton and your spellcasting friend when you
Absolutely.
do rendezvous with them. This has been great. And he just turns around and walks back in. He's like, "I need a coffee."
Me too, Mike.
Did Dad see me?
That did not see you because your stealth roll is so high, but it's still only a couple blocks away from before that it turns to Mara and said, "All right, what did you get?"
Well, I got a couple of things, and then I take out what I.
I just know you.
Don't show him. I'm not there.
What else did I get?
Pens.
Oh yeah, do you want to figure out how much
Fountain
gold you got?
How much
Yes,
gold?
yes. You said a small bag.
He had 17 gold pieces.
Oh,
That's like 5 gems that Harmony can steal.
There it is.
Oh.
So Zant, you see Harmony sneaking her way back
Okay.
to the stall.
I'm not gonna go right up next to the stall though.
Okay.
I'm gonna go like 30 feet away and try to lose myself in the crowd a bit,
Mm-hmm.
but just still so I have like line of sight on the stall.
Right. Roll a stealth check.
So I'm gonna track Harmony and just be following her. Because we're gonna have to make a getaway pretty soon, I think.
Wow.
I have not rolled at all today. So that's a 4.
Okay. You're lurking.
No. It rolled a natural 20 for you. Yeah.
I'm
You're
lurking.
lurking a little bit away from the stall.
So, I can't remember what we ruled on this, but for my wild magic to trigger, it has to be one of my spells or one of the amulet spells, right? So, like,
Mhm.
if I use my ring of telekinesis, it will not trigger.
Exactly.
Perfect. So, I'm going to use my ring of telekinesis, subtle spell, so that I don't do it.
I think subtle spell also has to be your
Okay.
magic.
So, I'll use my ring of telekinesis to lift one of the gem, the red gem that I want off of that thing, up, straight up into the air.
And telekinesis is only what kind of components? Verbal and somatic. Okay. Check one thing in my notes. At this point, you can see, as you are beginning this process, a patrol of guards, some of those like bucket helmed guards, has come to investigate the sinkhole and is in the area. They aren't paying attention to you specifically yet, but they are around.
Okay.
And they're like talking to those who were pulled out of the sinkhole.
In that case, I'm not going to make it go straight up. I'm going to make it fall onto the floor, make it look like the thing was bumped or something, and then I'm going to have it roll around across the floor toward me.
Roll a charisma sleight of hand check.
Wow, what?
Yep.
So
Just charisma if you're
no
not proficient.
proficiency. Okay. Man, I'm running out of d20s, you guys. They're all really bad. Oh, please, oh, please. Oh,
Please let us end this.
Oh, it's
Dang
nowhere
it.
near It's nowhere near ending.
Dang it.
Incredible.
The universe does not want you to have that. You're not allowed to have it.
I rolled
This
a
one rolled a
natural
3.
one.
A natural one. Okay.
So
Oh,
that would be
for
a
her.
6.
The large red creature manning the stand notices one of the gems fall off of the table and reaches forward and snatches it and then puts it back on the table.
That's better than I thought it was going to be.
However,
Oh, God.
at that point also, I need to make another attempt to dispel magic on your spell. This time with a, what is their bonus? One of the green-skinned creatures has taken a few long sword hacks from its friend, which has drawn quite a bit of attention.
The bonus doesn't matter, it's an 8th level spell. He's looking to beat an 18, I think.
So he does, because he rolled a 23. So at that point, the longsword kind of goes to the side, and they look at each other, and they start thinking to each other
I
again.
feel the spell get dispelled,
Yep.
and
And their eyes both turn back to you.
I am fucking out of there.
And at that point, you feel a psychic ping in the back of your head that you recognize as a sending spell.
Oh, God.
And you recognize who it's coming from, and it's coming from Radiance.
Okay.
And Radiance, her cheerful voice ringing in your head, says, Harmony, I just thought you might want to know, I'm having those dreams again. The ones that I warned you about a couple years ago, where the black flames were coming from you for you. Whatever you're doing, you need to stop. And that's the message.
My message back is thanks for the warning. Little busy.
And what were you going to do?
I am dimension dooring 500 feet as far as I can in the direction of where Seal's home is. and if I can, like around a corner behind a building kind of thing.
Okay.
And I'm fucking booking it. And my wild magic goes off.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah, we'll see if they notice where you go based on what wild magic happens, I suppose.
Well, it happens before I leave, not where I
That's
appear.
true.
Depending on
That's
what
like
it
the
is.
fourth wild magic
Yep.
today. That's amazing.
37 or 11.
Wow, you're getting your money's worth out of that
Yep.
table. Oh man.
All right, we'll do 11.
11. Okay. So just as the slime is, retreating back into your pores,
That's really gross.
your robe suddenly, it's not punctured because it's an incredibly powerful magic item, but like it pokes up as cactus spines grow out of you, and passerbys give you a look, but it's nothing too weird for Sigil. So nothing.
Is the right
Probably
size for
makes
something
me
like
fit
that.
in a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Just walking around cactus spines at you, and the robe is sort of like hanging on those spines.
Yeah. It's like draped around this weird
It's
figure.
like this puffed up robe just settled around this tiny tiefling woman.
She's feeling
and
a little
none
manly
of them,
today.
None of them take any notice of you until a couple seconds later when all the cactus spines shoot out of your skin and pierce some of them for 2 damage, and just everyone around you goes, "Ow! Watch what you're doing, you
Sorry! And I turn a corner
freaking Burke!"
and cast thieving on myself.
Okay.
Oh
To
man.
make myself look like one of the guards. And I just start walking like I'm supposed to be there.
Okay. And you're heading back towards Ciel's
I
shop.
can't believe
Yeah.
I managed to get you off there.
I know. How many ones did I roll? Ones and twos. I think I've rolled 3 or 4 twos.
So, as this all happens,
Yep.
I'm
This
gonna
is
walk
an
up to the
important
shop
fight.
where that red-skinned person is. How much are these gems?
And he kind of looks down at you and says, 100 gold each.
Oh, okay, thanks. And I walk out.
Could at least buy something, he shouts at you as you leave, but he's quickly drowned out by the noise of the market. And where do you want
Really
to head
fun.
to?
Well, I don't know where Harmony went, right?
Nope. I mean, I'm warping around and shit. So.
Well, I could follow you because of your terrible stealth checks, but then
But then I
last
cast
dimension.
I went
where-
around a corner and
Yeah,
I
I
cast
know.
thieving
After
on
you-
myself.
You
After-
could follow her trail of slime and.
Oh, the cactus spines though.
Well,
yeah,
you
I
wouldn't
think.
know. You wouldn't know that I grew the
Can
cactus
I
spines,
can I
so.
roll a
Spines.
perception check to hear the screaming of people get shot by the spines?
That's like 500 feet away.
At
Yeah.
least.
So what I would say is you can roll an insight check to know which way Harmony might
Okay,
have
fine.
gone, and then based on that you can run into the people with spines.
That is a 23.
Yes. So you know that Harmony would probably,
Run
head
towards
back
Ciel's.
to Ciel's, where you're meant to like rendezvous.
So I sigh, and I'm like, all right, Bianca, let's go. And then I'll start.
500 feet that way, you see people picking
With,
cactus
like,
spines
yeah, and
out
like-
of them.
Yep, she's been here.
I would just like to point out,
Been here.
completely
Yeah.
out of
Recently.
character.
Magnifying glass.
Completely out of character. This
Slimy
all
spines.
would have been completely fine
Uh-huh.
if Thaddeus had never talked to Mike Jensen, because you would not have gotten caught. You could have swiped the gem, and we could have gone home.
There's no way of knowing that, though.
Who knows?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I got some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
I
okay
much
with it.
prefer this.
We
outcome.
made it out.
Do not try to help me.
I'm
I
okay with
much
this.
prefer this. Because
I'm
if
just kidding.
you didn't get caught, we wouldn't have gotten whatever you got,
I
right?
mean, you made out, but you're officially not done with the Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis anymore.
True.
Potentially. Potentially.
That's fine.
Yes.
What are they gonna
Very
come?
much
What are they
fine
gonna do?
with
Come
this.
to the hells to find us?
Who
Maybe.
knows?
Maybe.
If I summon more slotty there.
Oh
Definitely.
yeah, maybe, yeah, okay.
So yeah, Zant and Harmony, you make your way back to Ciel's. Where would Mara and Thaddeus go?
Away from the crime scene.
I feel like we should go back to. Like Thaddeus just wants to finish his business in the city, so we should go back to that travel agency.
Wait, though, before we got distracted, I'm not there, but I'm just. Before we got distracted by me,
Mm-hmm.
we were heading back to Ciel's anyway, right? I feel like we were gonna go talk about things before we go
Oh.
to the travel agency to make final plans.
I think that's right.
Okay, yeah.
Is that correct?
I think that's right.
Yeah. But we were going back to Ciel's shop, not.
No,
No,
we came
her
from her shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Back to their home. Okay.
I know, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's correct, right?
I think so.
All right, so let's head back
I mean,
to
that's where you
Seal's
told Valiance to meet you as well.
Yeah.
So eventually the group of you regroup at Ciel's place. Ciel isn't quite home yet. They're still tending the shop for the day. But one of the fox-like creatures is waiting on the front step. And basically when the fox-like creature sees you coming, it reaches up with its paws, turns the handle, and pushes the door in, and basically opening the door for you to follow it in.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
When you guys get there, I'm sitting on one of the couches, just
Are you
like
still in
looking
your
very dejected.
disguise?
No, I would
Okay.
have dropped it, but I'm just like looking very dejected and covered in slime with like a couple cactus spines stuck in my hair.
I think Thaddeus sees you in the state and says to Xant, all this and what do you bet you still didn't learn a lesson?
100 gold. That's how much they're worth. I could have just bought one.
It's not the point.
You want some cheering up?
Yes.
I empty my pockets in front of Harmony.
Oh my gosh! What's this thing?
You got a handkerchief? You got the man's handkerchief? Why?
I mean, it is clearly shining with magic.
Oh, okay.
Yes. It's a black cloth, but it has like this sheen to it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is incredible.
Right?
We'll have to ask Ciel what it does.
Can't we just figure out what it does? We've seen him use it before, right?
Have we?
Yeah,
You have
that's...
seen him use it before.
Yeah, when he left.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so this is
Basically,
yeah.
every time that Mike has appeared in your world, he has hung this thing in the air, and it has created like a hole that he steps into and then pulls the thing shut on it from the other side.
Awesome.
This is how he travels around.
Great. Then I
I'm
don't
so
have to
glad
waste
you
a
ran
ninth
into him.
level stealth slot to cast flame shit.
Well, depending on how it's used, I guess.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
cool.
Someone tells me he's not going to be rid of this ultra loft anytime soon.
Yeah, anyway, so, sorry. I thought that it would go a little bit quieter than it did.
Mm.
We should probably lay low for a while.
We should probably leave soon, honestly.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
leaving is a better use of our time.
So we need to find out what we're writing down the river Styx.
Oh, writing. not-
Yeah, as far as
Writing.
I know or understand, there's Mara's ship, which we would need to get outfitted, and we'd need to find a way to get it to the river Styx. Or there's this ghost ship thing that we saw that we could try to find, but I have no idea how where we would even start with that. Do you have any ideas? Do you know anything about that ship?
The only weird thing that I have that I was going to ask Ciel about is this, in my bag that we got from my dad is this barnacle covered gold piece.
Mm.
The one thing that you would remember about the barnacle covered gold piece is that what was her name? Captain Constance
Holt.
Mm-hmm.
had one of the barnacle covered gold pieces, the same type. And when she died, you remember seeing a rune flare to life on the surface of the coin in Giant. I think someone in the party could read it. It was basically the number 2, which changed then to the number 1.
Oh, that's right.
Oh shit.
And then that night was when the ship appeared.
Oh shit. Yeah, maybe we should show it to Ciel, see if they can figure out.
So I don't know if it's some kind of summoning charm or what.
Maybe.
Could lead us to it.
Yeah.
I like the idea of this ghost ship better than Drowning Kiss, no offense, but it just seems costly and time consuming to outfit
To outfit the drum.
an existing ship.
Yeah, and who knows? Like I
The
talked
wear
to
and
Ciel
tear
about.
too, and
And I talked to Ciel about
you can
make
put her on
shrinking
such
it, but we
waters.
don't even know if that's possible.
Sounds more like an experiment than an actual.
Yeah, nothing we should place our bets on.
Yeah, I would be interested to find this other ship.
Okay. I wonder if
do
we should do that and then come back to Sigil to get the papers after that, or
Right.
are we
That
going to
makes
be
sense.
able to?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. We
Yeah, I
could
think
find
so too.
treasure aboard the ship that would let us
Exactly.
pay for the papers.
Exactly.
And then it would be better to come here with ship in hand to meet our navigator.
Yeah, I think that sounds like the correct order of operations.
Sort of as you're having this conversation, you hear the door you're kind of in the sitting room off to the side. You hear the door open and Cial comes in, and the light outside has been getting progressively darker. So it is clearly getting on towards evening. Cial comes in, looking pretty much just the same as you last saw them, but with a cheerful smile on their face, having completed a profitable day of sales, many of which were to you.
Yeah.
Cial comes in and says, "Oh, good, you're here. I hope you've made yourselves at home. Did my fox-like companions get you some tea or anything?"
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well,
we
excellent. I brought some dinner. It's nothing special, just a little soup. And
thanks.
Cial kind of like sets out bowls, and then from a big pot that they're carrying, just basically like pours out some soup to all of you.
Thank you. Is my mother back?
Not yet.
Okay.
But Cial kind of like sits down with you to eat dinner. So, how was your day?
Boring.
Well, you know some of it, so we won't have to talk about that, but it was fine.
We had a fun time looking at boots in the marketplace.
Oh yes, the Great Bazaar is quite the sight. Really, truly, you can find anything you want.
Ran into old friends.
Old friends.
You remember that story I was telling you about my friend who had a run-in with the?
Oh yes, I recall.
Yeah.
Your friend.
Yeah. Those friends.
We visited their headquarters for several hours.
Oh, and was it dreadfully boring?
Mm.
Forgetful, some may say, right? No,
I couldn't
right.
begin to tell you what the place was like. It just slid right out of my brain.
That sounds about right, to be honest. Their true headquarters is in Outland City. The Sigil branch is more of a second location, and it's not very impressive.
Certainly didn't make much of an impression.
Well, no, it
I
wouldn't.
liked it.
Why don't you show them your coin?
I find fun
Well, we
memories.
should-
Cial
Showed him
kind of
your
raises an
handkerchief.
eyebrow and says, "Coin, handkerchief."
Would he approve of my methods though?
Sure. Cial's great. They love us.
Oh,
What do you want to know about?
Cial, you know that Cial has hired you as a thief before,
Oh,
right?
that's right.
So,
Okay.
Cial has no problems with your methods.
Okay.
And
So
in fact, I've thought of what I would like you to do while you're down in the hells for me, and it will definitely rely on your methods. So,
Great.
Lay it on us.
oh, you want to hear about that now? My interest was piqued by this coin and handkerchief.
You can do that first.
Well, whatever you want.
okay, well let's start with the handkerchief.
Okay. So you lay out the handkerchief, and Cial, takes a quick look at it, lays out some arcane components, and casts a spell, which I assume no one wants to counter.
I almost said it just to be stupid. I almost went counter spell.
How are your spell slots, Harmony?
Well, I think I still have
In-house
third
Tides of
levels.
Chaos.
Tides of Chaos, I used
Oh, yeah,
mine,
it's
so
you're right.
yeah. I have plenty of level 3s left.
Okay.
You want me to counterspell?
No.
Identify.
I'm not gonna counter spell identify.
Cial takes a close look at the cloth and studies it for a moment and says, "Well, wherever you got this, it's quite the steal. This is a very impressive artifact." Yeah, and they say that with like a knowing tone. It's like
The
the
funniest
joke
part
is made on purpose.
is I was just writing steals in my notebook when you said that.
Cial says, "What you have here is a well of many worlds. You can hang them up in the air, and it will form a portal to another plane of existence. Now, it is difficult, in fact, almost impossible to control where this portal will take you, though there are those who know the secrets to directing it where they wish. I'm not one of them, unfortunately. The other caveat I would say is you should be aware that if you bought this for the purpose of leaving Sigil, you won't be able to leave from here with it. You need a a portal within the city to come and go from this location.
Why is that?
That's just the way that Sigil is. It's one of the many magics of the place. You can only come and go from Sigil via one of its portals.
So when we leave,
That's why it's
Sigil-
called the cage.
when we leave Sigil, we'll have to go back out the way we came.
Theoretically, from the portal you came through, or perhaps if you know the plane shift spell, you could go through theoretically any portal and come out the other side and then plane shift to your destination.
Oh, I see.
Hmm.
I don't know that spell,
But
but
then-
I could cast it.
Ideally, yes, back the way we came. Though the portal you came through, like I mentioned, is a shifting portal, so there is a chance that it won't be where we left it.
Well, it doesn't matter where we end up on the material plane.
Oh no, I mean on this side.
Oh,
It may not be back at the Smiling Shark.
I see.
well, what about the coin?
Ah yes, there was a coin as well.
Here you go.
You lay it on the table. Cial casts another Identify spell.
Cocktail. No, I'm kidding. kidding.
The brow furrows as I was rolling for my counter spell on your counter spell.
No, I would
Um,
counter that counter spell.
Oh shoot!
Oh
But
man!
then the fox companion would counter your counter
Would it
spell.
though? Would it?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Um,
Zan has the last laugh.
Cial's brow furrows and says, and they say, it's interesting because there are magical properties to this, but it's like examining a component from a whole magic item. This isn't the entire thing. Let me try one more thing. Let me see if Cial knows.
Where did the
Legend Lore
coin come from, Mara?
I got it in a bag. No, it was in a chest.
Yeah, the
spell. It was in a chest. It
On
was in a
the
chest
ship.
of your mother's belongings, actually.
And there was a journal from my father. And
Wasn't Captain Holt keeping it for her?
and a blue.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, because it was after they passed.
Cial.
And a blue candle.
Can a wizard learn the Legend Lore spell?
I think so.
What level spell is it?
5th.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So Cial can know the spell and would know the spell. Cial casts the Legend Lore spell on it, which takes a little bit longer. This one takes 10 minutes to sort of set up the ritual.
I'm watching very closely.
When it is complete, Cial's eyes go misty and cloudy, and they seem to be gone from the room for a moment, as they are seeing things that the rest of you cannot see. When the cloudiness leaves their eyes, pull up my notes on this coin.
I'm scratching one of the foxes behind the ears.
Oh, it's really into it.
Yeah,
It's
because really jealous.
kind of like rolls into your scritches. When Cial's eyes uncloud, they say, this is, like I said, it's one part of something very important. One part of something of legendary importance. There's a treasure, a great treasure of these coins back in your plane. The first record of their possession is under the giants of the world, back when they were rulers of the southernmost continent in Elendil.
We've met.
Cial raises an eyebrow and says, I'd like to hear that story, but after this, at some point later in the future.
Real party animals.
The treasure is known as... Where is it? It's known as Fornyot's Fortune. Fornjot. Fornyot. And the legend has it that when all the coins are united in one place, the one who unites them has the power to conquer death itself.
That's interesting.
The last place the treasure was seen was in the giant's capital city of Vonenheim,
Is that the
which
same?
was then heavily raided by pirates later, when the giant empire fell.
Hmm.
And where now? Where was it?
Cial shrugs. That is the extent of the legend. No one knows what happened to them
One in
after
time,
that point.
I think.
Warnenheim?
Vonenheim.
Vonenheim.
Voninheim.
We thought that this coin had some kind of connection to a ship that we're looking for.
Well, like I said, the capital city of Vonenheim and the rest of the Giant's empire in the southernmost continent of Elendil was raided by pirates when the Giant Empire fell to the humans and the other mortal races of the world. It is possible that one such pirate group came out with these coins.
Doesn't really help us find them though.
How one
sounds
wandered
like
into
my
your
group.
possession, I have no clue.
I don't know how long my family's had it either. Nobody tells me anything.
Okay.
So do we share the story of how we came across the ship?
Yeah.
Yeah, we made
Tell them, they might have an idea of how we can find it.
And how it was underwater, and then how, well, at that time Hunter and I went down and looked at it, and we explained what we saw.
Seal rolls an intelligence check. That's pretty good. Seal kind of leans back in the chair, takes a sip of their tea, and says, "Honestly, this ship that you're seeking seems like something incredible. Something out of legend itself. I wouldn't even begin to know how to search for such a thing. Do you have any allies who would be able to expand your range of search in the oceans, or is there any way you could spy upon the deck of the ship itself from a distance?"
We could ask Gimbu actually.
We met some mermaids once.
We
We
had
did
that
meet mermaids.
crystal ball of
balls.
scrying.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, if that coin belonged to your mother, did it belong to your grandfather too?
Her grandfather is on her father's side. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, you could, if you think your grandfather might be part of the ship, but maybe your grandfather's not connected at all. But scrying only works on a location or a person.
But we saw him. We heard him singing.
You heard the song that you knew from him, but I don't know if we recognized his voice.
Mm-hmm.
You recognized the song.
I can
I
think of
thought
such.
she did a sending, the ruby of sending to her grandfather one time.
I think that she did. You
I
did
think she
make
did.
contact with your grandfather at one point.
I remember that happening.
So scrying or using the ruby to send a message to your grandfather is one option.
Okay.
Or, yeah, I don't know.
So that sounds like a good
I
option.
mean, I could try to teleport us right to it.
That's not. It's like
That
I'm not
probably
really
wouldn't
good
work.
at
I don't know where it is.
I also
I
can
wouldn't
use
like
the
all
same
that.
magic that I used to turn Xant back into a human to locate it.
Oh, the wish spell.
Mm-hmm. I might be able to summon it to us. But it's risky.
Yeah. Because
And I might not be able to
I
use
think
that spell
We should
again.
exhaust.
I
our
remember what
options
happened the
before.
last time you used that spell. You were no good to anybody for a week.
Yeah, I was kind of out of commission for a while after that.
And then if we bring it here and they don't want to be here,
The other option is you might not find knowledge about Elendil here, but if you were to return to, I don't know, someplace in your home plane where there is a well-stocked library, perhaps you could spend some time researching it. There might be legends or otherwise that could point you in its direction.
We don't really have anything to go off of, right?
It sounds like you have a few things. You have a
The-
connection to a legendary treasure. You have
We
the
know-
appearance of a massive ghost ship that can disappear beneath the waves silently.
We know
Without a
people
trace.
who were probably aboard that ship.
Who?
Her grandfather,
Well, that's what we were just saying. We don't know for sure if her grandfather's on the ship or not.
Captain Holt.
Is she?
because I think I would have asked
You don't
her all
really know
about
what
it
Captain
before.
Hook's fate was.
Yeah.
You know that Captain Holt was thrown from the ship with heavy weights strapped to her feet by the Night Claws when they captured the Drowning Kiss. However, by the time you searched that area of the bottom of the ocean, after the ship appeared, nothing was there to be found. And the ship appeared basically on the shores of Kame Kame Island, and then a couple figures dived off and then climbed back up with a bundle of something. So whether that was Constance's dead body or whether Constance was just drifted away to deeper in the ocean, you don't know.
And you know, it could have. I mean, you're the only one that saw it. No, you were alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You woke me up after, and we went swimming and tried to find it, but we couldn't find anything. So it could have just been a dream.
It was him because he could swim.
It was me because I could polymorph.
Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't swim because I would just sink.
Yeah.
I can breathe. I could have breathed
Breathe
underwater.
underwater.
back
Okay.
then,
So
yeah.
like, I believe you, but like, it could have just been a dream.
But we have avenues of looking into it. Ciala's right.
Yeah, I think
But
so.
the point is, we have to look into it more.
Yes,
So.
which is fine.
Which we can't do from here.
At
Well,
least not easily.
I can plane shift us back tonight, and we can sleep on the Drowning Kiss.
Not from here, you can't.
I thought you said I could.
Not from here. Remember, Sigil's called the Cage.
I
The only
know,
way
I
out
know.
of here is a portal.
Right. I thought you said earlier plane shift would work because you create a
Oh,
portal.
plane shift could work from, if we took any portal out of Sigil, you could plane shift from wherever you end up
Okay.
back to Elendil.
Never mind. Then I don't have to burn my 9th level spell. So let's spend the night and leave in the morning.
That's fine.
Well, did you want to hear about what you're going to be doing for me down in the Nine Hells?
Sure.
Yes.
Do you want the little favor or the big favor first?
We'll need them both.
Oh, let's roll for favors. Even is the big favor, odd is the little favor. Little favor.
Little favor. Alright, so this one is from Mara specifically, since you took those lovely boots off my shelves. I mentioned there's an infernal merchant who's active on the first layer of the Nine Hells. His name's Mahadi. He and I do business every now and again, and we sort of oscillate between, oh, he's in my debt, oh, I'm in his debt, back and forth, and currently I find myself in his debt for, you know, procuring me a set of infernal ingredients I needed for a particularly fiendish item I was working on. So, I'm going to go ahead and tell him that I'm sending him someone to clear my debt. And just transfer my favor to him, if you don't mind. I will be sure to tell him what the favor's worth, so he sets a reasonable value to it, and nothing too extreme. He's a reasonable gentleman. It shouldn't be a problem. And if he does try to ask you for too much, just send me a message, and I will have words with him.
Could you give us an example of how much we should be expecting based off this little favor? Because we don't know what your debt looks like.
Oh, I know. My debt with him it's inconsequential. Like I said, we oscillate back and forth in between. The debt, for your reference, the debt that you owed to Cial, I believe, was a couple hundred gold pieces worth. So
Yeah.
nothing too extreme.
So what's the big favor?
Yes, this is where it gets tricky. I need to find my notes on it. Here we go.
Cleaning slime off the road. And the spine.
I would have
Yes.
already pressed a digitation.
Yeah, uh-huh.
Pulls out a
Let's see
piece
how
of
many
paper,
times.
a piece of parchment that is rolled up.
Febreze.
Kind of unfurls it, blows on it, some dust goes everywhere. I dug this up from one of my tomes on the Nine Hells, and they place on the table in front of you a map. And I'm going to get you a color version later. This is just the black and white version for now.
This is the frozen layer.
This is a map of Stygia, the 5th layer of the Nine Hells, which I believe you mentioned is a place you are looking to go to anyways. You'll see
Well, we
that-
have to go there to get to the 6th one, right? Is that what it is? Yeah.
This is
okay.
where the river Styx lets off.
We're looking for papers for the fifth
First-
first and sixth layers.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'll notice that the river Styx winds through. Well, first of all, it's an ocean. It's a vast ocean. The entire layer is covered by ocean and icebergs, and the river Styx winds through the layer, never mingling with the rest of the ocean, staying entirely separate the whole way through. So you'll see that line marked on there. You'll see towards the southern edge of the map, if you want to call it south, though no such direction exists in the Hells, there's a city marked named Tantlin. It's in fact, it is the biggest city on the fifth layer of the 9 Hells, and a very important location for the Hells in general. Well, at this point, several hundred years ago, there was a transition of power in the Hells when the current lord rose to power. He goes by the name of Levistus. During that transition, the city of Tantlin, which is normally a city of, like most of the Hells, rigid law and order, fell into a bit of a chaotic spree as the pit fiend who was in charge of the city, who happened to be a little bit maddened by one planar disease or another, encouraged the devils to fight and to earn their place in the new order that the pit fiend was going to construct within the city. Eventually, Levistus, unable to abide this, however, cracked down, and his Omnitsu servants froze that pit fiend solid into a block of ice and shattered him.
Oof.
Interestingly enough, whether it's by a property of the spell that was weaved to freeze and shatter the pit fiend, or by just the madness that resided within the fiend itself to begin with, each of those shards is a highly magical object, and they're very valued within that layer of the Hells. To own one such shard is a significant bump of station and power. And I have a project I'm working on where I would greatly benefit from one of those shards, a specific shard, the one containing the heart of this pit fiend.
Ooh.
And now I don't know where it is on the layer, I don't know who has it, but I know I need it. And I think that is a favor worth a robe of the Archmagi.
Huh. Okay.
I could write down some information for you about this pit fiend and some leads for you to get started with.
That's a shardy business.
Indeed. But if you can accomplish that for me, then our debt is well and truly squared.
No problem. Should be fine.
See y'all's eyes are just like ablaze with excitement.
Yeah, no big deal. I mean,
We're
how
best,
hard could
right?
it be, right?
Yeah, sure.
Shard of a pit fiend.
We killed an 8-headed serpent creature thing. We can do this. We
We'll
killed
see.
a kraken yesterday, you guys.
Juvenile Kraken.
It was still a kraken.
It's true.
Well, there are krakens in Stygia as well, so watch out for them.
Thanks for the warning.
Big ones, fully grown ones.
Plus, once we get to Stygia, we'll have help. Oh, did I not tell you guys about that?
No.
No.
Oh.
At this point, as you're about to launch into that story, the door opens and Valiant strides in.
Oh, good timing. Now I won't have to tell it twice.
And she just kind of surveys the room, sees the group of you sitting there over a map, and says, "Oh, are you planning something? I hope you weren't waiting for me." And just kind of sits down in a little bit of a huff.
So yeah, I meant to talk to you guys about this after the little snafu this morning at the Fiend's office.
Mm-hmm.
But you guys remember my friend Moloch, right?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
boss. Moloch becomes visible with a puff of sulphurous smoke.
You want to tell them what you told me?
Which part?
What?
I only just walked in. I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's about time we tell them who you really are.
What?
Oh yeah? You really think they're ready for that?
Well, I
mean,
think
you're the boss. It's
I
up to
think
you.
it's stuff that they need to know before we, embark on this big mission for you.
Well, all right. And Moloch, this little diminutive imp with a little bit of a belly, now that he's been sitting dormant for 5 years, hops up onto the back of one of the large armchairs in the room, unfurls his wings as majestically as possible, letting his occasional golden scale glitter, and he turns to the group of you and says, "You stand in the presence. You're sure this is okay, boss?
Yes.
All right. You stand in the presence of Moloch, the former leader, Archduke, and ruler of the 6th layer of the 9 hells." And he gives a low bow. You know I have a grudge against Malagard, the Hag Countess, otherwise known as Mother Midnight, and that's because she was once one of my advisors, and she gave me a bit of particularly bad advice, intentionally leading to my fall. And, well, that's why we're going for revenge. And he gives a fiendish smile.
What are you getting out of this?
Revenge. Sweet revenge. And if all things shake out well, my domain back.
You say the 6th level?
Yeah, so, you've got friends in Stygia, right, that are just waiting?
Oh yeah, we've got an army ready of Yugoloths. Ready for invasion.
Yeah.
They're just standing waiting.
So once we get to Stygia, we'll have lots of help. It'll be totally fine.
How long ago did you have these allies?
He thinks back, about 5 years or so.
Can I roll insight on Moloch?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
please do.
Yeah.
Let me pull up his stats.
So,
Oh god.
it's not very good. That's 14.
I think I'm also gonna roll. It's 15.
And what are you trying to figure out with these insight checks?
Good.
I personally am trying to figure out, I guess how much we can trust anything that, I'm not trying to figure out if he's lying to us. I'm trying to figure out to what extent is anything he's telling us still good.
Oh, I see. And you rolled what?
A 15.
I rolled a 14, but I wanted to check 2 things, I think. You want me to roll 2 separate checks?
Sure.
Alright. So, the first thing is if he was really who he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
If he's really the Archduke.
So that's your 14.
Yep, and this one was a 26. And that one is the credibility of this information.
Okay. So in terms of credibility of information, you two are sort of looking for the same thing.
Yeah.
Thaddeus, he's an imp.
Yeah.
How much can you trust anything that an imp says? And plus, he doesn't, just looking at him, he looks weak and frail, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't look like anything special. So, it's kind of hard for you to tell, but that's what you're seeing. With your 14, to determine
If he's a previous Archduke or whatever, and
he seems like he's confident, and Harmony's nodding along, but it's really kind of hard to tell. But
Okay.
as for how credible his information is, yes, you can see that he definitely he's not speaking a lie to you. He's very confident that he has an army ready on the 5th layer of the hells, waiting for you guys to invade the 6th and take it back from.
After I think about that, I'll respond to Moloch and say, Moloch, an army of you isn't really that.
No,
Oh,
he
no.
said they're Yugoloths.
Yugoloths. And
Well-
he kind of points to Seal, like that one, but stronger.
No offense, Seal.
Seal kind of shrugs and says, "None taken, of course." I mean, I'm standing in the presence of Moloch, the former Archduke of the 6th layer of the 9 hells. I'm the one who should be honored. Seal kind of gives a mocking bow,
But if
clearly not believing.
Malagard had so little trouble dethroning you, who's to say that she hasn't also disposed of your army by now?
Well, that's a good point. But I think that, the reason they're hiding on the 5th layer, is
they're
that
hiding in the 5th layer.
Yeah.
the leader of the 5th layer, first of all, it's not where Malagard is situated, so there's a little bit of distance, and it's more than distance, it's actually, metaphysical space, so there's that advantage. But also, they won't be detected as easily by the leader of the 5th layer, because he happens to be frozen solid in a block of ice, unable to escape. So, there's that. It's the perfect place to stash an army. I've thought this through. Trust me, I've been plotting this for so long.
By army, how many do you mean?
Enough. He just kind of gives a fiendish grin.
I mean, we're plenty strong on our own. Doesn't hurt to have an army of soldiers, even if they're super weak, to be a distraction while we sneak up and stab that bitch in the back. I'm just saying. As we're talking, I'm like prestidigitationing my robe to get all the ooze and spikes out.
Yep.
Like section by section.
It's good as new before too long.
And I'm attuning to it.
I mean, we already have enough errands that we're doing to worry about a war at this point between.
Well, but like this
Look,
is
I mean, that's the main errand,
this
right?
is the
We're going
main
in
reason we're going there.
to get revenge on
Is
Mother
to
Midnight.
kill Mother Midnight. I mean,
Yeah,
it's not just for Moloch. I mean, she's after me too.
No, I
Sure.
wouldn't ask you to do
Until-
anything just for me.
You totally would, though.
Well,
But that's not the point.
this is why I might ask you, but not these three, you know?
I mean, my mother came to me with this stuffed animal that was following her around because of this hag.
Right.
This hag that wants me.
No,
Wants
I know.
The
I know
unicorn
what the
found me.
I know what the goal was. I just don't want to get caught up in a. What's the word I'm looking for?
Unholy war.
Just like a dispute amongst, you know, in the hells themselves. We already have our own business. We can take care of with or without someone's throning and dethroning.
That's basically what we'd be doing.
They can go on whenever they want. Why do you need to wait for us? Why do
That's
you
a
need to
good
wait for
point.
us?
Well, because we had a deal.
Who had a deal?
He and I had a deal.
Of what?
I
He helps me, I help him.
Yeah,
This
I help
is your
her out,
help?
She'd help me. Yeah, we have a
This
mutual goal.
This is us helping him.
Can
And
I-
yourselves.
Can I ask?
I have an army.
Can I ask you, Moloch?
Yeah.
What help have you ever provided us that was worth what we're about to do for you?
Well, okay, here's the thing. I've done reconnaissance. I've carried a skull with a very valuable memory in it away from a danger zone. I am also going to help you achieve your revenge. It's not necessarily what I have done, it's what I'm going to be doing. Don't think that Malagard isn't just sitting down, or don't think that Malagard is just sitting down there like biding her time. You know, she's got stuff in the wings for
Thaddeus-
you too.
So I'm weighing all that on this one hand,
Listen, Thaddeus.
and then I'm weighing descending into the hells to slay one of its arch fiends on the
Well,
other.
that's not just for me, that's the point. That's for all of you too.
We were going to have to do this with or without
I agree.
Moloch's help.
Why does it hurt to have an army?
The fact that he has an army is a boon. And also the amount of information he's been able to share with me about the hells, which I've then shared with you guys. Plus, you weren't there
It's for.
for the past 5 years. He's done every single thing I've asked him to do without question.
It's true.
We've done some great long cons though, haven't we?
It's kind of like slow nod. Thinking back on it. Really, in the end, you were going into the hells to face Malagard anyways. Now you get to do it with an army of trained fighters at your back. You don't get better mercenaries than the Yugoloths.
And the guy,
You just don't.
someone who's been there before.
I mean, granted, it's very different now than it was, but... and I've
I'm
gone
gonna
back
send
a long time.
Thaddeus a message, and I'm saying
Counterspell. I'm
he
kidding.
can't do that.
I'm kidding.
To me, this sounds a little too convenient for him. Is the reason I'm hesitant.
I agree. This is the kind.
I mean, he is.
This is the kind of deal that you get
Exactly.
when you deal with the devil. They get everything, and you get very little.
I'm also worried that if he truly reclaims his throne, then we're going to be stuck there with him too.
Also true.
So there's some things that I'm.
You and I are gonna
Not-
have. You and I are gonna have to be very careful because these two will not.
Yes.
I resemble that remark.
So I think I'm willing. This is just outwards. I think I'm willing to at least share when we're going. But as far as our errands for running, I mean, you guys can commence your operation at the same time, but I don't know if we want to like jointly work together either. I'm not sure yet.
I'm not sure I understand what you.
Yeah, I don't understand either. I mean, sure, you don't have to like working with me, but the fact of the matter is, our objective is the same. We both want.
There are no
frickin'
separate
night
errands.
How about give us a little bit of time to think about it?
There are
Moloch
no
shrugs.
separate errands
Look.
here.
Look, I'd rather have the 4 of you than my entire army. So if you want me to call off the army and we want to take on the Night Countess, why can't I think of the word? The Hag Countess without an army, that's fine. We can do that.
No, don't do that.
I'm just saying,
Don't be
why
hasty.
not have an army?
All he's saying is there's a group of soldiers
I
at our
understand what he's
disposal.
saying.
As far as the mission, it's unchanged. We're not doing anything extra that we wouldn't have already been doing.
Moloch's like nodding through all of this.
You refer to them as a mercenary army.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you paid them?
Oh, well that's the thing.
Oh dear.
I don't really have to worry about that because their boss owes me everything, and he gets a very fiendish smile, and there's something very sinister behind what he just said.
Can you go into detail about that?
Ordinarily, Yugoloths, you'd have to worry about them switching sides to the highest bidder. Oh, I outbid any bidder a long time ago.
Go into detail.
And Moloch crosses his arms and folds in like his legs and like sits back on the chair and says, "No, you don't trust me. I'm not trusting you. Just know they're secure. They're ours." She trusts me. He gestures at Harmony.
She's a fool. But I agree that it wouldn't be bad to have an army at our back.
I understand not wanting to get caught up in a war. We don't have to do that. We don't have to go in guns blazing. We'll figure something out when we get there.
Yeah, let's take care of our other errands first, and we'll think about this. And
We have some time.
we have a little bit of time.
Then Moloch's nodding along and says, "Yeah, that's fine. I mean, this was sprung on you. I told your friend here a little while back, but look, I mean, when it comes down to it, our goal is the same. And like I said, if the army's a problem, they're gone. You 4 are better for my mission than the army is. The army's just there to help."
How will they know? Will we have to go? We're going through the 5th anyway.
Mhm.
That's how he'll contact it.
We've got a large favor to do there.
So, I was just wondering what the signal is to gather them. How are you?
We'll be able to meet up with them down there, I'm sure.
I'd rather turn our attention for now to this ship and getting back home.
Yeah, I think we should focus on the task at hand first too.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really beat. I'm gonna go to bed.
And Valiant says, "Yes, I think I will too, but Harmony, would you mind? Could we have a little chat before?"
Yes, mother.
And Cial kind of gives like a big yawn and says, "Well, that's been a very interesting conversation to be beholden to. You sure are the most interesting bunch of people on your plane." And Cial goes upstairs to their bedroom.
I'm sure we are.
Valiance pulls you aside,
Mm-hmm.
off into a different area of the house, or maybe even outside, and kind of looks down on you because she's, mildly tall and you're pretty short.
I'm more than pretty short. You don't have to sugarcoat it.
And
3'8".
So tiny.
she says,
Dipsqueak Harmony.
you can see that she's struggling with words in a way that she doesn't usually. And she says, "Listen, Uxori, this is hard for me to say. You know it's hard for me to put down my walls."
You're not dying, are you?
No, I'm not dying. And if that's your measure by which you're gauging this conversation, I guess everything will be fine. All I mean to say, watching you with your friends, You've become strong and smart, and you can see that she's really struggling to say these things. You think on your feet, and you have good influences in your life, and I don't think you need me. So, you're going back to our world, and I'm going to stay here.
Here?
Here. I walked around the city. I like it. I don't really have anything back home except for you, and you don't need me.
But what about our tribe?
They don't need me either. And I've made my peace with that. I don't care that they don't need my leadership.
You haven't even gone back to try and smooth things over.
It doesn't matter. Things ended badly, and it's not worth it. I met some people here in the city who I think I have a very similar mindset with, and I'm going to stay with them and explore this.
Who?
Let me search my notes for the name real quick. They call themselves the Transcendent Order. They go by, people in the city call them the Ciphers. We act similarly in a lot of ways. You know, it's very much, the first thought in your head is the right one. And that's how I operate, you know?
Okay.
I'm just going to stick around and try things out.
Well, you know,
See what the planar life is all about.
I can't come visit you very easily if you stay here.
She shrugs and says, well, your friend Ciel here knows a way to contact you, so it's not like this is goodbye forever. I just want to stay here a little longer, and you literally don't need me, so.
I mean, you're strong, though. I mean,
She
you're the
shrugs and says,
strongest
yes.
person I know.
She's nodding yes, yes.
So I don't want you to think that you'd be holding us back. That's not why you're...
I don't think that I'd be holding you back. It's just that I think that you and your friends are better suited. And having been in a couple, situations with the group of you and seeing how you all handle yourselves, you have a certain dynamic that I interrupt. It's not a matter of I'm powerful and you're not, or you're powerful and I'm not. It's just we don't mesh.
I see.
Well, don't take it hard. It's just the way it is. If you start crying on me now, then this conversation's over.
I'm sorry.
You know that it's hard for me to open up like this.
I know. Thank you for what you said.
Don't get mushy.
Fine. I won't.
Valerie just kind of like gives a curt nod and says, good. Well then if you understand that and we're all okay, then the last advice I want to give you, and you may take this or leave this because like I said, you understand your group's dynamic far better than I do. I would just consider letting your group know, if you're truly going to go into the Nine Hells, about the power of a name. The people of our tribe know it. That's why we keep our true name secret. And your friends are going into a situation that they do not understand, but that would be an insight for them.
Yes, Mother. I'll talk to them.
She shrugs and says, you don't have to. It's just my advice. Last advice before we part for a while.
I understand.
Now can we go inside and go to bed?
I kind of looked at her for a second and give
You're
her a
thinking
hug.
about saying something mushy, aren't you?
I give her a hug.
You like look up and she's like cringing, but then she's also like, you can feel that she's like squeezing you. Like she's into it a little bit. She's just not like ready to admit that she's okay with hugging.
Tsundere mom.
Tsundere mom.
Tsundere mom.
And then I just let go and I, without looking at her, leave the room.
And yeah, I mean, you probably don't see her for the rest of
Maybe
the
we should
night.
keep the map to our navigator.
Does anyone else want to do anything before you take a long rest?
No.
Attune to my whip.
Your whip doesn't take attunement.
It doesn't.
No.
Oh shit!
Gets better and better.
I'm attuning to my robe. Did I have any projects I was working on?
Well, for the epilogue, since we have so much to get through, I want to keep projects to like a downtime activity as well.
Right.
It's fine.
But if you're going back to Farendale, there's a chance that you could do some
I think
research
the
as some
only thing
downtime.
the only thing would be your ship. So.
Not
nothing
my
else.
ship.
No, the Drowning Kids.
Oh, okay.
I still want to do that. Like
That would be really cool.
nothing. Going to sleep.
Okay, then you get your long rest. And when you wake up in the morning, you can see that it is getting lighter outside, despite the weird fact that there's still no sun
You take
here.
that one.
And yeah, you find yourself on your third day in Sigil. Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and ready to go. Cial has prepared some basic breakfast for you, laid it out, and it looks like they got kind of an early start and are basically ready to go when the group of you are waking up.
Cool.
Like show
So,
us where to go.
I need to go to man my shop for the day, but you said you were leaving?
Yes.
We're looking for the portal home.
Well, you can probably start with the Smiling Shark, and if it's still there, Cial kind of rummages in the robes and pulls out from a pocket a shimmering scale and hands it over to Thaddeus.
Okay.
This is a mermaid scale. It's the portal key.
Mm.
If you just hold that on your person and go back to where you came through, you should be able to go back if the portal is still there.
And if it's not, where should we inquire?
Well, there is a department for that here in the city. What is that place called?
The Bureau of Interplanar Risk Analysis.
I was gonna say that.
There's a place called the Hall of Records in the Clerk's Ward, where they keep a running record of all the portals within the city, where they appear, when they appear, the sort of keys that activate them and things like that.
Would it be wise to go there first on the way to the high board?
You could.
Just inquire? Okay.
It'd be up to you. There is a fee for using their records. It's not like a
How
public
much is it?
access thing.
We're a bit strapped for cash now.
I mean, we have a little bit to. If it's a small sum, then I'm sure we could manage.
I took a note on it somewhere in here, but I'm not sure where it is. It's a little trivial. It's probably only a couple gold pieces, but
See, that's nothing.
Alright.
Mara could pickpocket Mike Jensen for that much.
I did.
Alright, well, yeah, let's stop on the way.
I think we should stop on the way. Yeah. Okay.
I will. I suppose I'll send one of my assistants with you to show you the way, and then I will be working on my side of the bargain here, trying to procure you a
Navigator.
navigator.
Yeah.
And then I suppose we'll be in contact soon.
Yep.
Cial kind of gives the group of you a smile.
As one unwilling.
So Cial bids the group of you farewell for now, and departs off into the city to man their shop. And the fox-like assistant just says, or looks up at the group of you and motions for you to follow it, and basically trundles off into the city towards the clerk's ward.
Can I just retroactively say before I went to bed, I sent a message to Eli because I had the sending was
Oh
still.
yeah, sure. What do you want to say?
I mean, I don't want to derail us too much, but just tell him kind of about, hey, I'm in Sigil, it's amazing, we see you kind of thing.
Yeah, you get a very similar like miss you too. Like things are pretty normal here in Redwater. Things at the temple are going well. Yada yada yada, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's nothing that exciting.
No.
So yeah, the group of you make your way to the Hall of Records, which outwardly kind of has the appearance of like a building of learning, like a college or something like that. It's actually like a campus, and you're directed once you get there by the very orderly attendants, who you gather pretty quickly are members of one of the factions of the city. And the faction is known as the Faded, and they kind of run this establishment, and one of them sort of ushers you into a building where they keep all these like this library full of records of all the portals in the city and things like that, and pretty quickly you can tell them what you're looking for,
Right.
which portal you're talking about, and they go and they browse through the books and they find the right one and they pull it out, put it on a table, and then say, right, that'll be 5 gold, please, to use the records.
Okay. And I reach into the bag of holding.
Like everyone.
5 gold.
with fans.
Yep. I get it. Here you go.
Excellent. And he opens up the book, takes a look at the page, and says,
Fine.
ah yes, the portal you are talking about, the one who goes to the material plane, known as Elendal. Yes, that one, by my records, should be in the Smiling Shark for a few more hours.
Oh, we better get a move on.
In the Hive Ward.
How
So,
long will it take us to get there?
Well, we can get other modes of transportation, right?
Yeah, but how long did it take us to walk before? I can't remember.
it took you like maybe 2 hours or so.
Yeah. So maybe we should find a.
You're gonna want to move quick.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. What modes of transportation do we have here again?
Within the city,
To get
basically,
there.
Contact place thing.
basically I mean, you can see people like, some people will fly to their destinations,
Oh.
with magic or whatever, and then some people have like there's these public palanquins you can take. Whether those are faster or not, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, maybe we should just run.
I think running is the best bet.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right then. Why don't the group of you make me athletics checks?
Oh gosh.
Okay.
I'm actually good at athletics. But now that I've said that.
I got a 19.
I got an 11.
Do you want Bianca to make one too?
Ooh,
Yes, please.
I got a 20. A dirty 20.
A 16.
16.
Oh, Bianca's really tired today. Yes, I've got a 5.
We
So
both got natural ones,
the
right?
majority of you were above 15. So the group of you dash out into the city, and you find yourselves in the streets, and you're running, and most of you are managing to, keep pace with each other. A few of you are lagging behind a little bit, but overall, not managing to get too tired. You make your way into, from the clerk's ward, towards the edge of the hive ward, and you basically recognize the change there as being sort of like upstanding, like nice buildings, down to the very much hodgepodge mismatch of ramshackle slums and things like that you recognize as the hive ward, where everything just seems a little darker and dingier.
Dead bodies lying around.
Yep, dead bodies lying around. And you, as you're running through the streets,
Chase scene.
Oh dear.
I mean, he'll do it. Don't say it.
that's what we're doing.
Is it really?
I mean, well, no, not exactly. As you're running through the streets, not really watching where you're going, the group of you splash through a deep brown puddle of what you thought was just muddied water. But as your feet sink into it, this like amber glow arises from the puddle itself. And it's almost like a faint mist is floating above the puddle. And I need each of you to make acrobatics checks.
Oh.
As you see these muddy hands reach out of the puddle
Oh, great.
and try and grab at your feet.
Sure, that's not gonna be a saving throw.
I'm sure it is an acrobatics check.
Crap.
Tides of chaos.
Got
Much better.
You got a 15 though.
Oh yeah, of course.
Bianca and I both got 14s.
14, 14, 15.
Mine is, acrobatics, 18.
7.
7. Okay, so everyone but Thaddeus gets out of this puddle, like managing to dodge the hands that are the tiny hands that are reaching up and grabbing at the feet. Thaddeus, they get hold of you, and as they do, this the cloud of mist that is floating above the puddle expands outward and basically obscures visibility around you, and begins to get into your lungs. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Oh no. 13.
13. Even with your bonus?
Even with the bonus. No one is rolling well today, basically.
Yeah.
That is enough, and basically you manage to get like your hands up around your nose just in time as this like toxic smell begins to fill your nose. But nonetheless, you feel unaffected by the cloud of gas. However, none of you can now see Thaddeus. What would the group of you like to do?
I try and break free these hands.
Okay. You can roll athletics or acrobatics this time. if
Okay,
you want.
great.
You just like misty step out of it.
I could do that, but I just got a 30 on my
Oh well.
athletics check.
Mm-hmm. Easy enough.
Step out.
As you pull your leg free, you actually pull one of the hands like up and out of the mud, and coming with it is a tiny creature that sort of looks almost bat-like, but has a very humanoid head. And as you pull it looks to be made of mud. And as you pull it out of the mud, it just kind of like gets a look at you, and like as you turn around to look at it, it just goes, "Ah! I don't want to go with you!" and just like dives back into the mud.
Can I get out of the cloud?
Yeah,
Okay.
easily enough. And then you're
Are you
only
okay?
seconds behind the rest of the group.
Fine.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, I think I would like turn around and keep running, and then once I see him emerge from the cloud and say, okay, then I turn around again. We keep going our path.
Okay. The group of you are now dashing down alleyways with the fox in the lead, trying to show you the way.
Oh, okay.
And you're probably almost there. Like it's difficult to remember because this place is such a spider web of ramshackle buildings that just all look different and hodgepodge. And the last time you were here it was very dark, so it's difficult to remember where you are exactly. But you get the feeling you're very close, and you probably still have some time on the portal when I think a net basically flies out from one of the alleyways and lands on top of your fox companion.
Oh no.
And the fox goes tumbling into
Can
a
I
different
try
alleyway.
to catch it with telekinesis before it lands on the box?
Sure. Roll a charisma check.
Sure. Just charisma?
Yep.
Ooh, that's really good. 24.
Yeah, you managed to catch the fox in the net
Oh, I couldn't
with
catch it
telekinesis.
before it.
No.
Okay.
You can catch the fox in the net though before it goes tumbling off down
Okay.
another alleyway, which
Okay,
is
good.
good because you look down that alleyway and the alleyway from where the net came from, and you basically see you've wandered into a pincer attack of like muggers that are coming out from the alleyway
So,
with like
can
big clubs and like knives and things like that they're like drawing across their tongues. They're like, "You want to give me that fox creature of yours?"
Yeah, I don't think so.
So can I draw Kusanagi and like in one swipe open the net
Yeah.
to let the fox out?
I want to intimidate these people and say, you want no part of this.
I think between Hunter like drawing out his kusanagi and like cutting the net, and then also your commanding voice, yeah, definitely make an intimidation check at advantage.
Can I cast thaumaturgy on him to make his voice boom?
Yeah,
Zant.
it's not gonna give you double advantage, but
I know.
sorry, Zant. Oh,
Just for effect.
21.
What did you do?
Cast thaumaturgy, so his voice was really rumbly.
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, your voice booms out with the effects of thaumaturgy. The fox is freed from the net with a
Great.
single slash of the razor sharp sword kusanagi, and you sort of stand there. I assume maybe like holding the hilt of your sword and like getting your shield ready. And they finally get a good look at the group of you. And with the exception of Harmony, though they've just seen you cast telekinesis, which is a powerful spell, they sort of their wits catch up with them, and they're like, "Actually, never mind. We don't want anything to do with it." And they
Yeah, and
slink
when
back
I
into
grab the
alley.
net and I like throw it at one of them too to try and capture them and whatever.
Yeah, I mean they're like slinking back into the alleyway.
And
Yeah.
I pop my whip.
Their
Go!
backs are turned.
Go!
We're going!
The
We're
one thing you're
going
not
already!
proficient in, so you're like hitting the ground with like,
You
ew.
practiced with this anyway.
We should practice last night, maybe.
Yeah, so they slink back into the alleyways, and the fox kind of like looks up at you thankfully, and then darts off in the direction of the smiling shark.
Right after.
And
Yeah.
within a few more moments, you find yourself before the door of the smiling shark, which is wreathed by that like jawbone of a shark, some giant shark. And you burst into the doors, and you can see that it's not peak hours for the bar, but there's still a few patrons in there. The fishbowl has been refilled with water, considering you guys drained it last time.
I mean, Valiant's drained it, but
Yeah.
who's counting?
But it is otherwise empty at the moment. And Captain Prettybeard is, as all bartenders are, constantly behind the bar polishing glasses. Yarr! Yeah, the clueless are back! Around for the clueless! You patrons remember the clueless? And he just kind of like is trying to hype you up to everyone who's here. And everyone who's here is basically already drunk, and they're just kind of like barely looking up from their tables.
Very exciting.
But Prettybeard crosses the room to you. You know, the hooked hand. You remember he's got like a beaked floating brain with tentacles
yeah.
that sort of floats at his shoulder at all times. The tricorn hat.
The rings and decorations on all those kind of cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
kinda cool.
And the
Yeah.
one
So-
peg leg.
Do we take time to see if he's heard of the legend of the treasure and the ship? Or not? We don't
How
have
long
time.
until the portal closes?
I think I'll just ask him quickly. Have you ever been to Elendal?
Underwear?
Nope.
No.
All right, let's
Okay.
go.
Though you would recall that he.
There.
Yeah. Yep. He says all underwear.
All underwear.
All underwear.
And he says, what can I do for you? What do you need?
We're going back to Elendal. We need to go through that portal we came through.
Yar, okay. Well, I'll guide you there. And he sort of takes you across the tap room to the basement area that you're familiar with, where you appeared the first time.
Can I be looking out for any more gold coins on the floor from when they threw them
Roll
at
a
us?
perception check.
Priorities, what are they?
Searching for the shiny. Oh my gosh, we
I'm
are.
so terrible.
Do not.
No, I can't.
Okay.
I already used it to escape the mud thing. 6.
6. You don't see any gold coins. However, you do spot something behind you that is not trying to remain hidden, which seems to be a writhing mass of hundreds of rats, which seems to be following in your direction.
I'm gonna elbow Mara really hard. Mara?
Yeah, and Mara, you turn around and you can see that, like, entering the bar through the door and, like, following you towards the basement, there's this group of rats that sort of follows up to you and then, like, stops in front of you, and then they kind of climb on each other's backs until they form the shape of a bigger rat, like a human-sized rat.
An ostrich-sized egg.
Not an ostrich-sized egg, a human-sized rat.
Uh-huh.
And a voice enters telepathically into your mind, and it just says, Mara, we are Pinky.
Ooh, cool! Hi,
Oh,
Pinky. How have you
God.
been? I missed you.
We are
We missed you too. We have been lacking in food since we separated from you. And we remember that you gave us great sustenance. May we come with you?
Guys, it's
And all of you just
Pinky.
see this mass of rats
in
shaped
my-
as a rat.
In my mind, this is what the thugs were afraid of, not us.
Yeah, that was like behind us,
Yeah.
and we're like, yeah, back off, and they're like, whoa, they got a rat, a person-sized rat.
Okay.
Wait, so it's rats stacked on rats to make
Forming into
a
the shape
bigger
of a
rat?
person-sized rat
Okay, so
that is
how can we
silently
do this?
standing in front of Mara.
Yeah, just,
Can I
they're just
put
talking.
them in like
Uh,
a
but-
bag of holding?
You can see that
No,
they do
because they
have
can't
the,
breathe in there.
They do
Okay.
have like the exposed brain caps. All
So wait. But if they're in the shape of a rat, are the rats also making the shape of a brain, like
No,
an
no,
exposed
no.
brain?
It's just
Oh,
like,
okay.
I mean, it's very amorphous. Like it,
Okay, all right,
it's
all right.
fluctuating
You can
as they
just
like
walk
climb on
with
top
us.
of each other.
For now, and
Okay.
they can live on the drowning kiss.
Yeah, come on back with us to the ship.
If you would give us food, we would be happy to come with you and serve.
Okay, I don't think I have enough for all of you on me.
There's food on the Drowning Kiss.
But maybe there's food at the tavern.
We remember eating very well when we were with you.
This is kind of cool and creepy at the same time.
I think that's the point.
Okay, yes, come with.
The
Yeah,
best
okay.
worst thing
So
that's
the
happened
rat
today so
form disperses, and there's basically like 100 rats in like the shape of like a puddle on the floor, basically. But one of them hops up onto your shoulder, and you would recognize like distinct marks of Pinky, like maybe one of the toes is missing or something like that. It is very clearly the
Pinky.
original Pinky, and it just sort of hops up onto your shoulder,
It's a pinky toe.
and it says in your mind, "We are very eager to consume the food of your world."
Doesn't sound like it's food. Hungry, food.
It's been enlightened.
I know.
And Captain Prettybeard basically takes no note of this. He's from Sigil. He's seen weirder.
Yeah.
And he leads you down into the basement area, where when you bring the mermaid scale, which is what Cial gave you, close to one of the basement doorways, you can see well, actually, all of you are primes. You would see nothing. But Captain Prettybeard basically points at the door and says, "There, it's ready. It's active. Yar. You can go through anytime you wish."
Do
Thank
we
you,
need to
Captain.
keep the scale with us?
Yeah, I'll hand it back as I go through.
Wait, you hand it
To
back to.
Prettybeard?
Pretty weird.
No, to each of you in turn.
Oh, okay.
Just in case that, like, I don't want to bring it through and then it closes and none of you have a mermaid scale.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yar, that's a good idea.
But my point was, do we need to return it, or can we keep it?
I mean, Cial gave it to you, so
We'll find a way to get it
presumably
back.
either
We're-
they can get another or.
We have a favor to return. We're gonna see Cial again.
That's
so.
true. All right, let's go. Or you
and
can just wait until we're all through before you.
as
come through.
you're all about to go through, Prettybeard just basically says, "Yar, I'd be moving quick if I were you. It appears to be closing. It's flashing and
Yes,
pulsing."
that is right.
Yeah.
Yep.
All the rats.
And
See you, Captain.
the group of you, one by one, poof, like pass the scale back, and one by one go through, tumbling out of the cabinet on the Drowning Kiss, finally followed by hundreds of rats.
Yes. Just what your ship needed.
Great. Now it's a real ship.
And as we close today's episode, you just hear the sounds of the waves lapping up against the side of the moored Drowning Kiss, as you are black. You are back in Elendil. You're not black in Elendil.
Okay, good.
Okay.
We're covered in rats. We are probably.
I mean, yeah. So welcome back. You escaped Sigil.
Escaped.
Have a rat army. Oh
This
yeah.
is the army that Moloch wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Who needs Moloch's stinking army?
Oh boy.
Thank the group of you for playing, and thank you to anyone who watched. We'll be back with more of this Monday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, with a premiere on YouTube. So we hope to see you then. We're going to keep having lots more fun with this. So have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.